Hi, you guys. Welcome to my space to craft. And it is a Saturday morning. I had a great sleep in. Got some non-crafting, well, sort of crafting projects done yesterday with my church to build a sponsorship wall. And so this morning, I've decided it is time for a scrapbook page. So this is a kit I put together for my retreat, but didn't get to. So I haven't looked at it in several weeks. So let's pull it out and see what we have. The first are some Dear Lizzie thickers. I really love, oh, that's gonna have some Dear Lizzie stickers in multicolors. I love those. I have not used them. I have not used them yet. And then these are some very old products. Don't even know who makes this because I've cut the name of the company off. But these are some sort of enamel stickers, beach related. These are the three, ooh, how many pictures? Oh, this is gonna be a 2-page spread. So this is in, I think, Chankanaab in Cancun. Yes, this is all in Chankanaab, I think. So that's me and my daughter and my dad. And at the very top, it didn't print great, but it says Chankanaab. So I'll be recreating that using the letters. I'll do that. It's a really nice national park on Cozumel, and they have dolphin swims and other things, but they also, you can just go for a day pass and do the beaches and pools and stuff like that. This is my mom. This is my daughter sitting on that same pool. So I think that will be one side of it with the title. And then, let's move these things. And then these things will be probably on the other side. So I have a 2-page layout. Maybe I'm even going to look for a page sketch for a 2-page layout. This is the paper pack I picked. I love this water paper. This is the back side of it. This is a Creative Memories paper kit. And then this is the other paper that comes with it. So it's more of a turquoise here with the bubbles. So in reality, you could do both. You could mix and match here pretty well. So if I wanted to be simple, I could do this and then use some of the water other places. If I wanted to see more of this water paper that I love, I could theoretically, let's see. I could do this and then install some of this in the middle. I do also have all this ephemera that came with the kit that is appropriate. And these paper kits actually came with mats as well for your papers. Oh, and here's some more stickers. Paradise, Day at the Beach. So lots of black and white stickers, and then lots of, this turquoise is really pretty. And there's some of that blue. Well, let me go find a sketch that I'd like to follow. Otherwise, I'll spend an hour here trying to decide on a layout, and then I'll come back with you. Well, in typical fashion for myself, I did not go find a card sketch. I finally decided that I wanted the two papers face to face this way with a left-hand side and a right-hand side. And then the bubble paper I'm going to put in the middle, and I'm going to go all out on Creative Memories, and since it's Creative Memories paper pack, and use my Creative Memories cutting system as well. So I have the large circle that I will use, and I did speed this up a little bit because I spend a lot of time in the decision-making process. So the Creative Memory Systems does come with a template. That's why there's a little bit of shine on this page, because I have the template down to sort of try and determine what size I might want to do. And so then I've also pulled out the circle cutting templates, and then these sort of rounded rectangle templates to use on some of the other pictures. I looked at that square one, decided no. So I end up using the same rounded rectangle on all of the photos. And that seems to work really well, and is simpler and makes things a little more cohesive instead of everything being a completely different shape, with the exception of that one circle. And I do end up with two circles on the page. So I'm just double checking here that using the same template, I can get what I want out of each of the photos. So this is the general layout that I'm going to go with. Circle in the middle, sort of offset, and the pictures at the fountain of Chunkanab on the left, and then the beachy swimming pictures on the right. So I'm here shortly going to move into the cutting system, just so you can see how that works. So those are the blades. They rotate. It's a really nice system. I've had it for ages. The blades have lasted me for ages. And I use it to cut both the photos and the mats. And I am going to end up double matting all of these photos. One with white and then one with a piece of the colored mat. So I get out my cutting plates. I do have my glass cutting mat, but I really don't want to risk scratching it up. So using the Creative Memories mat is helpful. I have an very old one, and then a not quite so old one that's actually a little bigger. It's a 13-inch, so it works well. So here I am using the red blade first, and that way I'll be able to use the other blades for the mats as they get larger. And I did struggle a little bit applying the right amount of pressure on the photos, just because it's a layered paper. But any little tags are easy to trim off, as you're seeing. So I'm pretty pleased with that, and I promise you I don't make you watch every single one of these, but just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. There I considered maybe I would cut it down further, but I end up not doing that. So it's a pretty easy process. You insert the little nubs into the channel and then rotate it around. And just double check that you've made all the cuts, and you just have to hold that template down very carefully. I did mess up a couple times when I was trying to cut the mats by shifting it. As I went around a corner, my other hand would shift. So I created some scraps doing this process. Luckily, it was all on the white paper, and I can always use those scraps. So here I've got everything matted in white, and I'm just looking at, and I've cut the circle, and I think that to make it stand out a little bit more, I want to use my distressing tool. This is an
old Creative Memories distress tool. Tim Holtz does have one. I highly recommend them. It's so much easier to use than trying to use your nails, and it gives you more control than using the edge of your scissors or something like that, because you know you're right there with it. So I'm just double checking that I like the layout. Of course, in the process, I forgot which papers I was going to put as which mats, but that's okay. So then I go through, and you can see how easy this tool is to use if you haven't used one before. It does make a little bit of a, confetti mess, but it's pretty easy. And I do end up doing that for both this round piece for the center and the each of the photo mats as well. I scuff those up. Not the white part, but just the colored photo mats. And I just carefully went around, and then I sort of went a little more aggressive in a couple of spots just to create a little more white, a little more distress and texture on that. And I was really happy with the way that came out. So this is sped up probably about 3 times. It took me a while to do this. It was, a large circumference on that circle. I did not ink it. I did ink only just one thing on the page, and that was just to soften it. And then I realized, oh no, those bubbles go up in a column of water, so need to pay attention to that. So here I start cutting the mats, and I won't take you through all of that either, but just to see. And these were much easier to cut than the photos, because it's just a single layer of paper.
So now to commit to trimming this page. And I want it more on this side than on this side. And so that it's obvious that that's what I'm doing. Let's see. See how that shows up better now? Yeah, so I think right about here is where I'm going to cut. Excuse me. And I want it approximately up and down. I'm not going all the way to the edge, just so it can add to that ability to sort of lift it up and to allow me to tuck things into it if I choose. Make sure those are lined up. Yes. All right. This is some serious progress. I'm liking it. Mom. The shore. They don't have to be lined up perfectly, do they? This goes over here. my baby girl. I'm going to scoot Mom over a little bit more this way. So baby girl's not quite so scrunched up there. Okay with that. This one can go down a bit. And I still have room for embellish. Well, maybe this should go. That looks a little weird. I think I like that better. Rather than spacing everything out, let's get things a little bit more together. And on this side, oh, I still have this one to cut.
All right, so jumped ahead a little bit. Everything is going to get matted and placed on the page and committed. And so I'm doing this at speed again. So here I'm pulling out my ephemera. I end up not really using much of anything from that that beige set. I'm going to put the title onto some wax paper so that I can figure out where I want to position it. Took me a minute to find my little scrap of wax paper. I need to keep a whole roll up in my scrap room, I think. So again, this is Chankanaab. It's a national park in a seaside park, including part in the water on the island of Cozumel in Mexico. And it's a frequent cruise stop. So these letters I thought fit beautifully. There was some pink in it. Of course, her little dress is pink. And so I do end up pulling in a couple of fish with some pink in it to add to other areas of the page. So I struggle to get this out. And I think I'm going to do Chankanaab Beach Party, and then the party part has a very yellowed looking umbrella attached to it. So it's just not going to work. I was very disappointed because I thought Chankanaab Beach Party, that is the perfect title. But I just can't make it work. So I set that aside, and then I pull out the sticker sheet from the original paper pack, which really works out well. So just making some final adjustments on things. There is a little circular element, and I don't think it's shown in the video, but it does end up somewhere on the page eventually. I put it there. I'm like, okay, maybe set it aside. It does end up in the end. So here's where I realize I need to do a journaling box, and I had cut one circle for that round photo and cut it using my scissors, and I didn't like it. It wasn't clean enough for the look I was going for. So here I roughed it up, and then I'm gonna just add some blue ink just to hide my bad cutting job. And because it just looks too stark with the white on there with everything else. I do end up covering quite a bit of it with stickers though, so. And here come the stickers. And things get moved around a bit. I put a lot of the fish up on foam stickers so that they're a little bit elevated to create some more dimension on the page. And this sticker sheet had a bunch of little bubbles, so I used those as well in a couple of places to add bubbles, and then eventually enamel dots as well. So Here I'm really just auditioning things in different places, what's going to work where. And then I decide the fish should be at the bottom of the bubbles instead of on top of the bubbles. So I like how this is coming together. That I do end up lowering that fish so that I'm not completely covering up those little bubbles at the top of the left-hand page. And then I'm just looking at what else I like. I do end up putting a little subtitle under there. I don't quite remember what it says. Something about a perfect day in paradise, I think. So here I'm committing, laying down those letters, and realize, oh, I would really like those to be straight, so let's get out my T-square ruler so I can put those down straight. It's kind of a new tool for me. I have a pretty straight eye, but I don't always have straight hands, I guess. And if something is crooked like that, it will bother me because of my reasonably straight eye. I don't scrapbook that everything has to be perfectly straight, but I do notice sometimes when it's not. So here's where I think I'm going to pop this up. And you can see I moved it over a bit so that it wasn't covering the important letters and that you could see those bubbles behind it. So popping up more fish. And then the little subtitle on there, which looks actually good. I was worried you wouldn't be able to read it on the blue, but in real life you totally can. All right, so we're coming to another transition, and we'll see what I'm doing enamel dots. So I'm thinking everything's pretty much done. I had pulled out my enamel dots. You can see that stack on the side. So I'm just adding those as sort of additional bubbles. And I ended up using just blue and green enamel dots. In little trios of different sizes. Page is done. Let me give you a close-up. I might still add a few more sayings if I have some words and things like that. If I do, I'll add some more stills to the end. So Chonkanab, this is a clear sticker, the enamel dots, roughed up the edges. And then this page, just this one small, this maybe could use a little bit more over here, but I'm happy with it. Fun and simple page. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe. Recommend my page to your scrappy friends, and come back to My Space to Craft for more out of this world scrapbooking and crafting.